Did you learn anything about the behavior of your uncle today?
No, it seems every time I speak to you, Lawrence, the first thing I say is, nothing surprised me.
Right.
But in this particular case, actually, just because it wasn't surprising doesn't mean it isn't horrifying. And I think we need to focus on that and how the people in closest proximity to him, with apparently one exception, failed the American people so egregiously.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I don't know the guy. I've observed him from the distance of public observation, and I thought all of this was completely clear. I thought he self-revealed all of this. His first wife accused him of rape. E. Jean Carroll is a credible accuser of rape of Donald Trump. We heard him say on the Hollywood Access Hollywood tape the way he approaches women violently, physically. Yep. All of that is worse than throwing his cheeseburger against the wall. And all of it is of a piece of the spoiled brat that he has publicly been. He's this creature of Fred Trump's child rearing that you didn't have to tell me about. It was just ridiculously obvious about this public buffoon who then became president.
Yeah, and I think what's good about what's happening in these hearings is that his behaviors the truth about his behavior might be reaching a broader audience, and including the people who were with him all the time and yet still seem surprised. I believe it was Cassidy Hutchinson who said in her deposition a couple of hearings ago that she was very surprised that instead of doing his best to calm things down when the crowd started wanting Mike Pence to be hanged, he poured gasoline on the fire. Well, of course, because that's what he does when he feels cornered, when he feels threatened. And we need to dispel the myth that for reasons I don't understand, some people continue to hold about him that, you know, his bullying is strength or his bluster is forthrightness somehow, and just see him for what he is. He's a developmentally arrested, seriously psychologically disordered human being who has no right to be anywhere near the levers of power. And if anybody is still willing to support him and wants to keep him in power, then we need to be very concerned about those people.
What struck you most powerfully in today's testimony?
The brazenness, the absolutely unabashed calls for violence. And again, not surprising, but that he was literally saying, I want these people armed to the teeth to accompany me to the Capitol. And for what? We can only imagine how much worse his presence there might have made things. And how out of control he was, how just completely unconcerned about anybody's well-being. The only thing he cared about was his clinging to power, even though he knew he lost. He's always known he lost. He can maybe convince himself in some moments that he didn't, but he knows he lost. And he was willing to sacrifice anything, including the lives of his vice president, his Secret Service, Congress people who've been carrying his water for years. That's who he is. So I think it was just the horrifying reality of the mask being torn off to the people who have been enabling him. And yet, Lawrence, they still kept silent and they still protect him. It is mind-blowing.
Yeah, you know, what we're seeing in this testimony they're stories about Donald Trump, and what's so, I think, horrifying about them, shocking, I should say, and surprising to people, is the setting. So if he's in the presidential limousine and he's grabbing the steering wheel, angrily telling his chauffeur, go over to this nightclub instead of that nightclub. When he was doing that, 30 years ago in Manhattan in his ridiculous limousines, that would have been, yeah, that's Donald Trump out on a night on the town, and he's mad at his chauffeur for taking the wrong turn or something like that. But when you put the same nut in the presidential limousine, these are the scenes you get.
Yeah, and again, it's always been clear to you and me and many others, but for some reason, the message hasn't gotten through to other people. The truth of the matter is Donald Trump respects nobody. He cares for nobody except himself. He will do anything. He will throw anybody under the bus. He will call for the execution of somebody who thwarts him so he can get his way and stay in power, because he has been conditioned over decades to believe that that's what he deserves, even though, of course, nothing could be further from the truth.
So Rudy Giuliani, Mark Meadows asked Donald Trump for pardons, and they don't get them. Thinking what? That we have served him so well, surely there will be a fair exchange here.
That is always one of the biggest mysteries. Do these people learn nothing? They've seen dozens of people who have committed their careers to Donald, who have given everything to Donald, from Michael Cohen on down. They've always seen how it ends, and that is badly for the person who is loyal to Donald to a fault, because it's a one-way street. He feels no compunction about being disloyal to them. It's like people who smoke, who think they're going to be the only ones who aren't going to get cancer. It's just incredible. And I really think that people like Meadows and Giuliani are so addicted to power that they think it's going to protect them somehow.